representing the Soviet Union, de l'Union soviétique, Maya Usova and Alexander Zhulin.
Second in Europe, second in the world last year, second here after the compulsories. The Bolshoi-trained Maya Usova and her husband Alexander Zhulin skating for the Soviet Union.
Every judge will be watching this performance very carefully because if there is a possibility for Paul and Isabelle Duchesnay to actually climb up, it is this performance that they have to beat.
This couple was a big surprise last year when they came on the world scene. They came to their first World Championships and came second. Very unusual.
Last year when they did arrive on the scene and they did come second, it was almost a foregone conclusion because they were the second Soviet couple that they just would be up there. But in this competition, everybody from the top to the bottom is fighting for their position. Tracy, do you think it's fair to say that at this level, with so many good skaters, that the first, second, and third places are questions much more of which one do you prefer as opposed to which one is actually better?
Yes, your preference has everything to do with it, but what these people, what this couple does so beautifully is their technique is just bang on. They don't seem to ever make a mistake. Incredible turnout, and they're doing such difficult footwork.
I saw the performance skated at the European Championships in Leningrad, and this is a much hotter performance, and I think that they know that to hold their position or to climb up, it's going to be in the performance. Now, there was a small slip she made. I don't know if the judge is going to deduct marks for that, but she did make a mistake there.
Fortunately for her, she didn't miss a step, so that'll be the saving grace.
Pretty hard to beat.
Remember, you two, there is not a Soviet judge on this panel. Do you think that is in any way critical, Tracy?
I think it can hurt them, yes. I mean, they're without a top mark, which they would know they were going to have.
Well, their coach, Natalia Dubrova, of course, was concerned about that. She seems pretty pleased with what went on here, and there are Soviet flags in the crowd as well as they skate off the ice and await their marks. They were second, of course, after compulsory figures, second to the world champions Klimova and Ponomarenko.
Something which is a little depressing for me is in the previous couple, which we did not see, Ingi Toth, who are in fourth position, they actually fell down, but they still got very, very high marks, right up to a 5.7. So that makes me think that the mark is almost given before the skaters are even performing the performance. So we'll see what the marks are here, but I think we're going to be seeing 5.8s.
Well, here come the first group of marks. And you have got 1.58, 2.58 for their first group of marks.
5.6.
They are the highest marks that we have seen so far. Remember, the world champions skate after them, and the Duchesnay skate last in this grouping.
But Tracy, if anything, these marks are not giveaway marks. I mean, they are not really what you would call the second place marks, do you think?
I think that anybody can jump in over those marks. The judges have left a lot of room.
Now, the marks for presentation.
Marks for presentation will go up. Yes, they do. Again, 5.8s in there. 5.7s and 5.8s. 5.8 is the highest. Those are first place marks right across the board, but as Tracy pointed out, there is room there.
Our next competitors, nos prochains concurrents, representing the Soviet Union, de l'Union soviétique, Marina and Sergei Ponomarenko.
They won the compulsory dance, the reigning world champions, after being second 4 times to Klimova and Buchan. Another husband and wife team, Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko.
Having seen this particular one in practice, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion that they will win, but they will win for the right reasons. I think the skating skills are spectacular here.
Look at how fast they're covering the ice. One thing to watch with this couple is the way they stay within each other's arms. They rarely let go except to change position.
It's so difficult to remember what the previous couples did, but compared to the Usova Zhulin performance, I feel that the skating skills are just stronger, and if anything, it's a little bit snappier.
Upper bodies, watch their feet. They never stop twisting and turning.
Well, I think many skaters have always perceived them as being a classical couple, but they certainly are handling the samba as well as anybody.
All right.
Meticulously skated and far, far superior to the samba that I saw at the European Championships in Leningrad, which they did make a mistake. This looks pretty flawless to me.
Well, if there is a definite challenge there because they're skating in Canada, and though the Duchesnay specifically are representing France, they are Canadians, I think this couple have come out and answered the challenge pretty well. As you say, Toller, I think it was a far, far stronger, more stable performance than they showed us when they did win Europeans in Leningrad.
And Ted, I think that's because there is very real competition, and again, we mentioned it before, but it's important to mention again, there is not a Soviet judge here, which always means you get a little bit of help. Here, they've really got to fight for every mark they will get.
Usova's highest mark was a 5.8, and here now are coming the marks for Klimova, Ponomarenko. Look at that first set of marks, 5.9, 5.9, and then an 8, and then all the rest of them are 5.9s. That being the case, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they pulled up at least 1.6 for their second set of marks.
5.9, 5.9, 5.9.
The 1.58 that came up was from Finland. Canadian judge with a 5.9. The Canadian judge on the panel is Jane Garden. Well, Natalia Dobrova on the right there is looking a lot happier than she has been earlier this week. And here comes the second set of marks. Still a 5.8 from Finland. Yes, there is a 6 pulled up from the Japanese judge. A perfect mark, a 6. And that puts them in front all by themselves. Usova and Zhulin are second. As far as the Canadians are concerned, right now, Borlase and Smith are in 6th place. 2 teams to go, and we'll be back after this. Here are Paul and Isabelle Duchesnay, bronze in the Europeans in Leningrad, world bronze last year. Certainly the most talked about dance couple here. Canadians who skate for France, they're third here after the compulsory dance.
They've got the best of both worlds. They're at home when they're in France, and they're at home when they're in Canada.
That has been circulated from many of their detractors, and they are both popular and unpopular in this competition, is the fact that the OSP has a great deal of two-foot skating. And that's something that I particularly wanted to see. I was watching the Soviet couple, Usova and Zhulin, which are directly in front of them, to see whether, in fact, this is really better.
One of the major differences between this couple and the Soviet team is that they skate quite far apart, and quite often they will skate by themselves. They won't actually be in a dance position, and that is what has caused them a lot of trouble with the judges.
Well, this is one particular discipline that the rules and the illegalities are very difficult for a general spectator to pick up on.
Here is what you were mentioning with a little bit of the two-foot skating. But what they go for is that body rhythm and the crowd appeal, and that works.
Right there is a great deal of skating where they are completely not in touch with one another, and I now see what it is that many people were criticizing us about. You see, he's not really touching it. Well, there he grabs her again. I think I feel a lot more comfortable sitting in a commentator's seat than I would if I were sitting in a judge's seat, because again, there you see that there's very little skating where they're actually together.
Yeah, the judges have to play the bad guys.
The performance level is very, very high, and certainly great crowd favorites here. The audience is standing up, but if the marks are low, and I'm not sure that they will be, I think I do understand what the problem is.
Well, they perform their hearts out, and I don't think they can do it any better than that. Let's wait and see what happens.
The sign there says, "Take gut." That's somebody challenging the judges. Well, here they do it again. We saw it happen in Prague. We saw it happen in Paris. We've seen it happen. We saw it happen in Calgary, really. And then in Leningrad just a month ago. And here we are in Halifax. It's another standing ovation. Now remember, the judges are not standing up and giving ovations. And remember that they gave Usova and Zhulin marks that are beatable, but they also gave Wynn and Drew, the Americans, pretty good marks. So let's see what they do to the Duchesnay. Well, look at those marks. I think that those are very, very good marks, considering what they've received in the past. I think finally they have broken through on the judges. In their first set of marks, they've got 5.8s and 5.7s, just 1.56, which was from the Canadian judge, which will certainly not make Jane Garden very popular. I want to see their second set of marks, as I think this panel of judges has just accepted the Duchesnays for what many people have been saying for a long time, that they really are. Here come their marks now for artistic impression. Look at that, a 6. There's another 6. And they have moved up into second place after the OSP, ahead of Usova and Zhulin.
See, I told you, Tyler, it's not the great non-event, is it?
guess you're right. But interestingly enough, and I will be the most unpopular of all people here, I understood what the criticism was. I saw it very clearly. I can definitely appreciate the performance value, but one must stick with the rules. And again, there was so much skating apart from each other that I found to be flagrantly flaunting the system.
Well, they have moved into second place ahead of Usova and Zhulin, behind Klimova, Ponomarenko, Borlase and Smith still 8th, McDonald, Mitchell still 10th. We'll be back. This young man is having